Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Do these things to make your Filipina wife feel loved. This is Love Beyond the Sea, after all. In a recent video, I talked about being patient, kind, and positive as ways to show your Filipina wife that you love her. I have a lot more ways today, and we still won't be able to cover all of them, but we'll conclude in another video. Subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea to learn down-to-earth and practical ways to be the type of husband any woman wants. lvbts.com is our website. I have 9 more today, so I will get started so you can be closer to making your Love Beyond the Sea feel loved. Let's start with by not comparing her to other women. I tell my wife often how amazing she is, that she is my amazing Isa. That is how I named her online checking account and what I have written on our checkbook. I tell her that no man has it better. I want her to feel good about herself and that she is appreciated, that I think about her all day and frequently dream about her at night. I'll say, "Good night, my love. Now I will dream about you." If I were to tell her that I wish she could be more like some other woman or someone else's wife, that would diffuse her enthusiasm, to say the least, to be the best wife she could be. Another way to show her you love her is by complimenting. This was touched on earlier under being kind in another video. When you get comfortable with complimenting, it is a fun and satisfying thing to do. If it is something mundane like changing the bed sheets, she can be complimented. If she normally buys the groceries, you can tell her, "Thank you for doing that." The more you do this, the more she will know that she does matter to you. You can compliment her on being a good lover, companion, cook, just about anything. Now, another way is by being humble, and I do have some links I will put up there in the description box. And this is from one called lessthanhim.wordpress.com. It's about showing humility to your spouse. And they say there, being humble is marked by meekness or modesty. It means not arrogant or prideful. Self-effacing, not claiming attention for oneself. And here are some ways to show humility to your spouse. This is important. They list there, be selfless, putting your spouse first. Be consistent with small acts of service. Welcome advice from your spouse on many topics and problems. Don't try to, do everything and solve everything yourself. Be quick to admit when you are wrong, and you will be once in a while. Accept apologies and offer forgiveness quickly and freely. Respond graciously when you are really right and your spouse is wrong. One's ego is an obstacle here. It may feel painful at first, but learning to be humble or act with humility is good for your Filipina and therefore is good for you. If I assume washing the dishes or the clothes is my wife's job and I refuse to do it, that is not being humble. Giving her a foot massage once I'm aware that she likes that is being humble, or making her breakfast in bed when she just wants to stay in longer. Temporarily putting aside something I am doing to attend to a need of hers is showing humility. I try to defer to my wife whenever possible. One day she wanted my opinion on certain things to buy for the new house in the Philippines. I was planning on leaving it all up to her to decide because it is her dream house. I may be the head of the home and the one who makes the decisions when we are deadlocked, but I absolutely need my wife's opinion in order to make the right decision. It is also difficult admitting when we are wrong, but when we consider we are fallible and we've made a million mistakes over the years, it becomes easier to accept that nothing new has occurred. When was the last time you did that? Apologize for mistakes. All of us might have to think about that for a while. When my wife apologizes for something she said or did that she knows hurt me, I don't replay everything she said. Well, maybe sometimes I do, but I shouldn't. More often than not, I simply respond with, "I accept your apology, my love. It's okay, really." Responding graciously when you are really right, when your spouse is wrong, is a good lesson to learn. And marriage is the best place for these things to be learned, as you will get plenty of experience. Another way to show love for your wife and make her feel loved is by honoring her. There's another link I'll put in there for that about biblical gender roles. And it starts with 1 Peter 3:7. A very popular verse says, "Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them," their wives, "according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered." That's 1 Peter 3:7. And from the article I will link in the description box, talks about defining honor this way. Honoring is a valuing by which the price is fixed of the honor which one has by reason of rank and state of office which he holds. It can also be called deference or reverence. Now, we honor the position, not necessarily the person. The Bible tells us to, this is from the article, honor your father and mother, Ephesians 6:2. And when we honor our parents, we are honoring their position as our parents, not necessarily their person. It is the same way with a husband or wife. A wife is called to respect her husband's position, even if this, person is, if he is not respectable or acting respectably. That's Ephesians 5:33. A husband is called to honor his wife's position, even if her person is not worthy of that honor at the time. For most of us, while our parents may have been imperfect, they not only deserve to be honored for their position as our parents, but they also deserve to be honored for their performance as our parents. Another excerpt from there: on the other hand, praising one's wife does not mean we worship her or give her false praise for things that she's not really done. Remember that unlike the agape love, that is unconditional, love from the will, not based in feelings, that men are called to, in the scriptures, to have toward their wives, praise is something that is earned by one's action. Praise is something that is earned by one's actions. The link to this article has 12 ways to honor your wife that I will not talk about here, but I do plan to do a separate video on this topic alone. That's a very no-nonsense and unapologetic article. Another way you can show your Filipino wife that you love her is by being selfless. You can show your Filipino love by not being selfish, as we have already seen. Kindness, humility, and honor are selfless qualities. In my marriage, I try to focus on serving my wife based on Matthew 20:28, where we learn that Jesus did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. If God himself, who has authority over everything, came to serve and die, I can serve my wife. I don't do that, I don't execute that perfectly, but if I want the best outcome, that's what I need to do. Another way, by having emotional control. This makes your wife feel loved. No one feels comfortable around someone that makes them walk on eggshells, someone who is capable of erupting at any time. As an emotional person, this is difficult for me, as our others will talk about. The first bad thing my wife discovered about me after we were married is how upset I can get, often in situations out of my control, like dealing with customer service or something involving delay. For me to lead my wife, I have to have emotional control. Another way show love for your wife is by letting bygones be bygones. This is basically about forgiveness and not dredging up past wrongs against us. Forgiveness means canceling the debt. Forgiving someone is a great way to show love and a great way for them to experience it. What a wonderful experience to be forgiven and to forgive someone. By avoiding profanity helps her to feel loved. I could add name calling in here too. Using profanity accomplishes nothing except making your spouse uncomfortable and hating your guts if you use it to insult her. This relates to having emotional control. If using profanity is something that repels your Filipina, then by all means work on that, and she will feel like you're doing something to show her you love her. Another thing, the last one I think I'll mention here, is by being honest and trustworthy. If my wife can't trust me, then she won't be able to feel love. I believe if the husband creates an atmosphere of honesty and trust, his wife will feel safer, and more secure than if she doubts what he says. The Bible says, "Who can find a faithful man?" Try to be that man, faithful and trustworthy. Now, can you do these things? Do you want a lasting and thriving marriage? Don't compare, do compliment often, be humble, honor her, be selfless, have emotional control, let bygones be bygones, avoid profanity, and be honest and trustworthy. There are still a few more to cover in an upcoming video right here on Love Beyond the Sea.